I am trying to share the link. The previous link was broken. So if you give me just one moment, I will share the link. If you are there, say hi so I know that you're there. Getting there. We're almost there. I thank you for your patience. Okay, and then one more. To catch you up to speed on what has happened, the previous link that I had for this YouTube live video was broken for some reason. Not Facebook, YouTube just went on that link. So I am posting the new link to my business page, to my personal page, and to the groups that have requested it. Okay. So, yay. All right. I want to welcome you to the Clean Good Eats first Q&A. Went off to a little bumpy start, but I think it's going to be good. And I'm even apologizing now for the quality of the video because I think it may have been something wrong with my phone, and that could have been the broken link with Q&A. But nevertheless, technology is technology, and we're going to make it happen. So this is the first of quite a few Q&As that we're going to do. I'm going to do these over the summer. If y'all are loving them, please, subscribe to my channel. Let me know that you are loving them, and then we can take it from there. Hopefully we can continue these. So without further ado, I've got quite a few questions actually from Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and I would love to answer them for you now. But for those who don't know me, I am Sakina B. I am the CEO of Clean Good Eats. At Clean Good Eats, we specialize in specialty diets and allergy-friendly foods. And I love to teach how to cook. So let's go into the first question. Nancy Me. Do you suggest one type of diet or food plan over another? For example, keto, paleo, or do you just try to eat clean? That's a very good question. I will say this. There is no one eating style that is perfect for everyone, okay? I tried that. My family and I actually went vegan for a year. And in going vegan, we discovered that it made my husband, his condition worse. He has a condition where he can't process plant proteins, but we didn't find that out until we went vegan. And with my daughter, she has a host of food allergies, but going vegan actually made her food allergies worse because she became allergic to a lot more fruits and vegetables than she was before. So for them, the vegan diet wasn't a great diet. They had to use more of a primal diet, which is when you eat more, when you get your protein sources mainly from animal proteins as opposed to plant proteins. And they couldn't do a lot of grains, especially grains that contained gluten, because it inflamed them and made their conditions worse. So to answer your question, each person is different. But a great way to figure out what your body likes, actually, two good ways. Number one, what is your ancestry like? Are is your ancestry more from the tropics, the islands? If that is the case, then the vegetation on that island, the fruits, the vegetables, your body will be able to handle that much better than, say, if you were from someplace up north, like Alaska or the high parts of Canada, because obviously a lot of vegetation is not growing there. They're mainly on a fish type diet. So your body chemistry is what will determine what diet would be best for you. But then also, just try the food. If you start feeling aches and pains when you are eating the food, you know that is not the food for you. Okay. So with each food, I would say just try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, toss it to the side, move on to the next food. All right. And then you had a two-part question. Let's see. Do you have a master shopping list that you shop from so that you stay away from certain foods and for convenience? No, I don't have a master shopping list that I've actually written out. Now, could I create one? I'm pretty sure that I could. However, this is my rule of thumb. Fruits, vegetables, organic is best. And when you can, local. If you can't do organic, local, so local and organic are really your best bets. Local because it doesn't have to travel as far. So therefore, you know it's fresher and it's not accumulating all of the toxins that come into bringing a food from one place to another. And organic because you know that in the growing process, all of the pesticides are not being used. The toxic pesticides are not being used on your food. Okay, so that's a rule of thumb there. As far as convenience is concerned, if you want to get a packaged good, I get packaged goods that have 5 ingredients or less, and I have to be able to pronounce them. If I can't pronounce it, then generally I don't eat it. I'd rather have my food grown from the ground than produced in a lab. That's my rule of thumb. So when you're thinking of convenience foods, chips or just whatever it may be, look at the ingredients, 5 or less ingredients. You must be able to pronounce all of them and you must recognize them as food. Hope that answers your question. Okay, next question is Molly. I attended one of your classes and I noticed that you didn't use wheat flour to bread your food. What type of breading do you use and can I purchase it at the store? Well, Molly, yes and no. You're right. I did not use any type of wheat or gluten-containing flour because in my family, we do our best to try to remain gluten-free. We don't always, but if we use gluten, it's in very limited quantities. So the flour that I normally use is a combination of quinoa, rice, and chia seed. I grind that up and it's so easy to make flour. So when you asked if you could buy it at a store, no, you probably can't find that particular combination at the store, but you can easily make it and for pennies on the dollar. So for example, if you were to go into a store and purchase rice flour, you'd be paying maybe about $5 for that rice flour, as opposed to going in and getting a bag of brown rice for 99 cents. And you can make even more than what you would purchase for that $5 for the rice flour. And all you need, are you ready for the secret? You ready for the secret? All you need is a coffee grinder. That's it. You don't need this big old wheat mill. You just need a coffee grinder. So I just put in quinoa uncooked. If you want, you could toast it up. You want to be all fancy with it, you could toast it up. But I just put in quinoa. I put in the rice. I put in the chia seeds separately, grind it up in the coffee grinder, and then mix it all together and put in some seasonings. It sounds like it takes a lot of time. I guarantee you I make this flour in less than 2 minutes. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Malu. All right, next question is Brenda. Let's scoot down here. What are some of your favorite products to use in the kitchen and why? That's a good question. Everybody knows that I love my Instant Pot. But I will tell you that that's probably not my favorite item in the kitchen. My favorite item in the kitchen is a blender. And the reason it is my favorite is because it limits the amount of other utensils I need to use. So for example, just say I'm making pancakes in the morning. I don't need to get out the bowl and the whisk and the spoon. I don't need to get out all that stuff. I just use the blender. I put all of my ingredients in the blender, swish it up, and then I can just easily pour it out into identical sized pancakes in the pan. Love my blender. But my Instant Pot is definitely a close second. Virginia, where can I get the most bang for my buck on meats? We are eating low carb. Well, Virginia, I don't know the stores that you have near you. I know here we have Aldi, we have Costco, we have Sam's, and we have Walmart. I will tell you the best places that you can get the most bang for your buck on meats will be areas where you can purchase in bulk. So if you have a Costco, and anyone also who knows me knows I love my Instant Pot, but I love Costco so much more. Costco, if you ever happen to watch this video, I will definitely take sponsorship from you any day. But I call Costco my little heaven on earth because they have so many organic meats, so many organic foods for the prices that you would pay in a regular store for regular meats. So you can get ground beef there, you can get your chicken there, you can get lamb. I mean, whatever kind of meats that you eat, because I see that you said that you're eating a low carb diet. So you can definitely go to Costco. Now, if you don't have a Costco near you, I am not sure how Sam's ranks in that. I know when I went to Sam's many moons ago, they did not have that. But if you have a membership there, check into that and see if they have it. If not, Aldi is a good source for certain meats. I would say probably your best bet would be getting ground beef there. If you're feeding a larger family, not so much. If you are feeding a larger family and you live in a rural area, my best suggestion for you is to round up your friends and buy whole chickens and cows and from the farmer. And I say that because you will get more bang for your buck. You will have a lot more meat. You get to choose the cuts that you want. And it is much less expensive than having it already processed for you at the grocery store. So that is my suggestion to you. Okay, Sharif. Oh, I love that name, Sharif. My daughter is allergic to dairy. What type of milk do you use and why? So my daughter too was allergic to dairy, and we stopped using any type of dairy milk. Now she could still process certain cheeses that were dairy, but definitely not the milk. We started off with soy, but I found out that with the soy, it's high in estrogen. So that tends not to be so great when you're talking about puberty and things like that. So we stopped using soy and now we use generally nut-based milks. So your almond, your cashew. We haven't tried hemp yet. Hemp is a seed. We haven't tried hemp yet, but I hear hemp is also absolutely delicious. But almond, cashew, and any other nut-based milk that your palate tends to like. It's easy actually to make it. So if you don't want to go to the grocery store and buy milk, now if you drink milk a lot, then I would just suggest just go and buy the stinking milk. Don't even worry about making it yourself. But if it's not something that you drink all the time, you can make it yourself. And you can easily just soak the nuts overnight in water, drain them, and then you can just, do a little cheesecloth in there and you can have your own milk. How awesome is that? Milk, milk, milk for days. All right. Julie, do you know about foods that are inflammatory? Yes. Some of them I had to learn the hard way that they were inflammatory. So foods that are inflammatory would be your processed foods. So I hate to break it to you morning people that love cereal. It's inflammatory. Now you can get around certain cereals that maybe like rice-based cereals, but even in that, if it's processed in a facility that also processes gluten, then chances are that's going to be inflammatory as well. We have, and then speaking of gluten, so wheat, barley, rye, any of those types of seeds or flours, those are going to be inflammatory too. So most breads, unless it specifically says gluten-free bread, your pastries, and I know pastries are so good, but more than likely they'll be inflammatory. Dairy is inflammatory. Nightshades. Now, if you don't know what nightshades are, that's your eggplant, your potatoes, your tomatoes. Those, for certain people, can be inflammatory. Alcohol, because alcohol contains what? Yeah, barley. So that's going to be inflammatory as well. Vegetable oils, especially for certain people more so than others, it will produce an inflammatory effect. And sugar, and we know sugar is in absolutely everything that is processed nowadays. And it goes by so many different names: high fructose corn syrup, sugar, azúcar. And azúcar is just sugar in Spanish. So, it really is really in everything. So if you're trying to get away from inflammatory foods, you want to cease eating those 7, and then you want to incorporate the anti-inflammatory foods. So your dark green leafy vegetables, like your collards, your spinach, those types of vegetables are anti-inflammatory, along with beets. Anything that's really dark in color, that's rich in antioxidants, chances are it is low on the inflammatory scale. If you're looking for like a fish, salmon is great, high in omega-3s. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up, because that's too much for this time frame now. But where was my train of thought? Oh yeah. So salmon is really, really good. And it's also a good fat. So if you're looking for good fats, salmon is a great fat for you to use. Walnuts, coconut oil, flax seeds, turmeric. Now, if you're one that likes to cook with herbs and spices, turmeric is an amazing one to use, because it is specifically anti-inflammatory in nature. It has a whole host of other issues that it really blesses, but specifically, it's great. Okay. Yay, Lauren. I'm glad that you're here. Okay. So next, ginger. Ginger's another one that is good. Also, if you're ever feeling nauseous, ginger is good. Just brew some ginger tea, drink that, nausea goes away. Pineapple. Now, pineapple is actually, it has many benefits, but it's anti-inflammatory. But if you have asthma, it is great for asthma, because it reduces that inflammation that's in your lungs, producing the wheezing effect. Don't like that. So my daughter, we would tend to give her pineapples whenever she would get an asthma flare-up, and chances are it would reduce her from having to go to the hospital. Not always, but at times it did. Okay, so Julie, I hope that answered your question. Marie, I am thinking about going vegan. Do you have some advice on how to make the transition easier? What are some good protein and iron sources? Okay, so great question, Marie. I love it when people are looking for ways to better their health. So the first thing I would ask you is why you have chosen a vegan eating style over other eating styles. Not saying that vegan is better or worse than any other eating style, just asking why you chose that. Because if you were here for that first question, each body has an individual style, and each body absorbs food differently. So when we went vegan, my body absorbed the vegan diet very well, whereas my husband and my daughter, it did not. They did not so well on the vegan diet. So that's the first thing you want to ask yourself. Are you doing it to lose weight? Are you doing it for health reasons, for ethical reasons? Why are you choosing the vegan diet? That's the first thing. The second thing is, when you asked about a transition to make it easier, research. Each eating style has its pros and its cons. So if you're going the vegan style, which I honestly believe that it is an amazing eating plan if your body can handle that. Research the nutrition within the vegan style, and it's packed full of nutrition. However, the only thing you cannot get from a vegan eating style is B12. With that being said, yes, you will have to supplement B12. But at the same time, if you're not eating properly, you might have to supplement a whole lot of other things, because there are two types of vegans, okay? There is the plant-based vegan, and then there's the junk food vegan. I see people in my practice. I'm a health coach, and they come to me and say, well, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight on this vegan diet. And I'm thinking, well, maybe because you're eating a lot of processed foods. Just because it says it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. So choose your reasoning for going the vegan route. Are you doing it to be healthy? Then junk food vegan's not for you. You want to do more of a plant-based veganism. But you also want to make sure that your meals are balanced so that you're getting your protein in there, you're getting your iron, because you can easily become anemic where the iron is not being fostered all throughout your organs as it should be. And so you want to make sure that your meals are balanced in that sense. But then to also make it easier, transition. Don't say one day I'm eating McDonald's and Burger King, and then the next day I'm just doing a whole foods vegan diet and that's it. Because guess what? That's the easiest way to fail. Transition as your body will allow. So if you know that, cheese is your weakness, find recipes that have vegan style cheese, not going to the store and picking up vegan cheese. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. But find recipes. There's a cashew based cheese. If you like Alfredo, dynamite cashew based recipes for that. So you want to go out there and check for that. If you like eggs, start as a vegetarian. Okay. So just get rid of the meat based products and just choose certain meat style products that your body will consume as you are transitioning. Okay. And most of all, do not make yourself feel guilty if, just say one meal, you see the pizza, it was calling your name, it had the cheese on it, cow cheese, and you ate it. Don't beat yourself up. Know that with each meal, you can start over again. Okay. And as far as good protein and iron sources, nuts. I love cashews. Cashews and cranberries, that's my go-to snack. It's crunchy, it's filled with protein, it's filled with healthy fats, and it's got a little sweetness to it too. So nuts are really good for proteins. Beans are great for proteins as well. And most people don't know this, but most veggies, like dark green leafy veggies, have protein in them. So those are good sources for protein and for iron as well. All right, Carmen, how do you single out allergens? Do you eliminate all nuts, for example, for a specified time? What has been your proven effective protocol? I know that not all methods work for all people. Carmen, that is a great question, and it is very true. Not all methods work for all people, but I can tell you what I did. So for my daughter, many people know her story. She was allergic to everything but 4 foods. And so we found out that she was allergic because we had taken her to a holistic doctor and had her muscle tested, where you hold the food in your hand and then they test your lymph nodes to see if you have any sort of inflammation going on. Because generally allergens are just inflammation. So really it's more to that, but for our intents and purposes right now, we'll just talk about the inflammation part of it. So what we did was we took out everything that she was allergic to, even remotely allergic to. And we just gave her those 4 foods for 6 months. Yes, I had to learn how to cook and cook very well because she was allergic to everything but bison, turkey, cucumbers, and iceberg lettuce. So if you need a recipe for any of the above, I can tell you how to make it every which way. But we slowly introduced her to various foods, one at a time. And we would give it to her, just a little bite, 3 times a day over the course of 3 days. And then wouldn't give it to her and just see what her reaction was. Because you can actually have a reaction up to 5 days after the fact that you've had that food. So we did that. And it probably took over the course of maybe a year to get her fully back into the foods that she can eat now. But that's called an elimination diet. And of course, we had to work on building her gut flora, her intestines back up, because that's where a lot of the allergens are housed. But we did all of that. And now she's only allergic to maybe, I think, carrots and like sometimes pineapples. So that was a huge feat for us. All right. One last question, because I wanted to kind of keep this under 30 minutes. So let's see. We will go to Nikki. I do not like to cook. Oh, Nikki, you are my friend. I do not like to cook. What is your advice for a busy mom like me to make nutritious meals and not hate it? Well, Nikki, girl, I was in your shoes. I hated to cook. In fact, I remember my grandmother telling me, oh, you're going to have to learn how to cook. And I said, Nana, when I grow up, there's going to be food that's already made. I'm not going to have to even think about it. I'm just going to put it in the oven and poof, it's done. Right. So when we got our first microwave oven, I was like, yeah, that is awesome. Showed her. And then, God blessed me with these wonderful family members that can't have anything that's processed, can't have any, preservative filled food. And now I actually have to cook. So I feel your pain. But not liking cooking, here's what I did. I would put on some music in the kitchen. Sometimes I would have people come in there just to keep me company, because, when you're cooking, sometimes it's a lonely place to be because everybody else is off having a great old time and you're stuck in the kitchen with all these pots and pans and food that you don't even like. Okay, so I would get some music, or I would get a friend in there, somebody, family member, come in there and cook with me. But then also I had to remember who I was cooking for. And sometimes we lose sight of that in the busyness of things, because, girl, I get you, super busy, right here, right back at you. So I tend to stick with recipes that are 20 minutes or 15 minutes or less. Okay. Because I don't want to be in the kitchen the entire time. My whole premise is I want to bring the family back to the table, not have everybody dispersed while I'm in the kitchen. Okay. So 15 to 20-minute meals, and cook once, eat twice. That doesn't mean go back for seconds. I mean, you can do that too. But what it means is so that you're not in the kitchen every single day cooking, that you can cook and then have leftovers for the next day. So all you have to do is go in there and heat it up. Love that. All right, I want to make sure. Okay, and then nutritious meals. Girl, Pinterest is your friend. I know Pinterest is my friend. Just get some nutritious meals from there. I have a book out, Wife to Be, if you are looking for some gluten-free, some allergy-friendly recipes. Man, there are some great recipes that are tried and true in there. And that's in my book, Wife to Be, A Survivor's Guide for the New and Not So Newlywed. Plethora of recipes in there, from main dishes to smoothies to desserts to, appetizers, sides, you name it. All right. So we are right at that cusp. I thank you all so much for submitting your questions. My goal is to be here each week live with you for the summer months. So please continue to send in your questions. If I didn't get to your question this week, I will submit it for a future week. And if I miss it, please submit your question again. Okay. I want to let you know that I have free consultations each week, either 30-minute consultation or 50-minute consultation for free. We talk about anything relating to your health. Please feel free to contact me at cleangoodeats@gmail.com to get on my calendar for that. And thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.